If you can confirm, if you can see my screen and also hear me properly, that'll be great. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So today's session is fully about building. Today we'll be building an email reply agent from scratch. So there are a few things that we will cover, which includes different platforms like Vercel for deployment, Railway, Google Cloud Console, fetching emails from Gmail API, etc. So at the end of the day, what we are going to build is a web application which mimics email, and it will fetch data from your actual Gmail application, and then you can reply through it, provided there is a context. So we will set all of that very nicely in the next few minutes. The prerequisites for this we have discussed in detail in the last lecture also. Just get ready with your Claude code. You will need either of the API keys, OpenAI or Gemini. It doesn't matter whether it's OpenAI or Gemini because you are building this today. So you can pretty much use any API key that you have available. I have these two API keys available. That's the reason why I have listed it here. And I'll be building using Claude Code, but it doesn't matter really which coding agent you use. Any coding agent is fine to be used. So we can proceed with that. Just a second. I think somehow there is an annotation forming on the screen. Let's stop sharing and I'll restart. All right. So here is the actual pain point. Okay. So I built this app myself, and I'm currently using my own app for replying to all my emails. The goal is not to make a AI agent automatically reply or anything. Automatic replies, I personally don't prefer. However, add a human in the loop, craft the reply using AI itself so that it is useful to you in 90% of the cases. In 10% of the cases, the email that is crafted by the email agent in your draft will not be good. So you will have to modify it. So this will not cut down your email reply time into 0, but if the time is X, it will probably cut it down to 0.1x. In the last lecture, I had asked you in the chat, how many emails are you replying to typically on a daily basis? And many people mentioned it's 2 to 5 or 10 to 20. I did not see anyone who mentioned like 50 to 100 or something like that. So the true utility of something like this will come for those who are using either email or Slack or Discord or any other, let's say, platform for communication inside your team, where the order of magnitude of number of messages that you have to process before crafting a reply or the number of replies that you have to craft are on the order of few dozens, because that's when you truly feel the pain. To reply to 1 or 2 emails, you don't need an agent at all. But what I'm hoping is that irrespective of how extensive your usage of these communication platforms is, eventually you will find something like this useful. You might have also seen Gemini when you are using Gmail. Gemini creates an automatic response, right? I'm sure you have seen that, many of you. My question is, have you noticed anything not so great about the Gemini responses? Like, what has been your experience about the auto response crafted by Gemini? If you have ever used it or if you have ever seen it, you can just mention in the chat. So I will tell you what I experienced. The Gemini response is useful like 1/5 of the times, but it does not have the full context. It may have the context from that particular thread, but it's a bit generic response. I use it like 1 out of 6 times. If I see Gemini auto response 6 times, I may use it once. But other than that, I have pretty much found it very useless, right? And the main reason is not because the large language model is not good. Large language model is of course good, but the reason is we are not setting the context very nicely. So this problem is very real. And in fact, we are also building a tool where companies can make use of something like this, where they can connect their Gmail and their own database so that they can have their own email reply agent. Now, what we are going to build is something like this. We will have a website which will look almost like gmail.com. Okay. Inside this website, we will fetch the emails that are there in our primary inbox. The reason why I said primary inbox is the rest of the categories, social updates, and there is one more, right? You don't reply to those typically. Those are useful links, or whenever somebody shares documents, or when there is a one-time password, you use that. But the main inbox where you will spend time replying is the primary inbox. So we will create something which will look kind of like the Gmail primary inbox. And what we want to do is we want to craft a reply to any particular email in the primary inbox if we click on that email. So if that email is currently selected, there should be an automatically created reply. And if we approve, that reply should be sent to the person who sent us the email, right? So we don't have to 100% automate, but we will 90% automate. Human is still there in the loop. In case the reply is not something which you like, in case the reply is completely wrong, you should be having the ability to correct it. In case the email is the reply created by AI is 90% correct, you just need to make 10% change. You should be able to do that. Okay, so let's look at, first of all, where do we need to start to do all of this? We will, of course, start with Claude Code, and we will require some API of any LLM. And in that, you will feed the context of this entire email to that LLM, and that LLM is only ultimately who's going to create the response. Now, before we go ahead, I have one question. We are using Claude Code to build this application, but once the application is built and once it is deployed, is Claude Code coming into the picture anywhere? So Claude Code is not coming into the picture in deployment. If we are using it in localhost, of course, Claude Code can help. But when we are deploying, we will only have access to one brain. That brain will be the API, I mean LLM, any LLM, whichever one we are using. We'll use OpenAI or Gemini. So basically, that will be the brain. Claude Code, we are simply using as a coding agent to build this platform. Beyond that, Claude Code will not be there in the picture. Now, first, we need to have a Google Cloud Console account. I will tell you how to create this if you don't have it yet. And this is where we will set the Gmail API key. And whichever email you want to use, make a Google Cloud Console on that particular Google account. And of course, we will have Gmail as the application from which we are fetching our past emails or current emails. For storing the data, so when I say data, there are a few details which I need to mention. I will come to that. But for storing the data related to whenever our AI agent is replying, or when we made a correction to the reply, or when we gave the agent some feedback, all of that we will store in Supabase. Supabase is like a PostgreSQL style database. So you will see that when we are building. The front end part of our application, we will deploy in Vercel. If any backend functions are needed, which I don't think, if we are building a simple app, I don't think backend functions will be needed. But if it is needed, we will use Railway to deploy. And the whole project, we will be deploying on a GitHub repo. So the GitHub repo can be connected to Railway or Vercel, so that whenever you are making changes to the GitHub repo, you can auto deploy through continuous integration or continuous deployment to Railway or Vercel. So this is the workflow. So we will be using all these platforms. Now, can you tell me, if we need to craft a reply to an email, what all things should we feed into the context of the large language model? Let's say that the database is, the emails that are coming to you is based on some knowledge base. So you have some knowledge base document. Let's say you are part of Team Visuara. We have a bunch of courses, bundles. We have a lot of information about other programs. Everything may be there in some form of data, JSON file or CSV file. Now, this is, let's say the students are sending you emails, or people are sending you emails regarding some of these programs, specific programs. Okay. Now tell me, what all things should you pass into the context of the large language model to create the response, first of all? So first of all, the current thread, which we are looking at, that we should obviously pass, right? Because in the current thread, maybe there are already 2 or 3 exchanges that happened. Maybe this is a new thread, so no exchange has happened, but we don't know. So we will have to pass the entire current thread. That is the least thing we have to pass. Okay. Let me just type it. I think there is a little bit of slowness. So thread is one thing we pass. Then what else do we pass? We have a knowledge base, right? So that knowledge base, do we ideally pass it entirely, or because let's say you have 200 programs, somebody is asking you about some specific programs, do you have to pass the entire knowledge base? Because it's a bit of waste of context, right? So use RAG to fetch relevant item from the knowledge base. From the knowledge base, KB. What else do you need to pass? You have a specific style of response, right? So maybe you have to pass some email writing preferences. What else you may need to pass? Imagine you have already built the application. Wouldn't it be great if your email response agent is becoming better over time? Wouldn't it be great? Because what if the agent is not so good and you need to give some sort of feedback so that the agent can become better and better over time? So there should be some feedback system for your agent. And those feedbacks can be passed. If the number of such feedback is very, very big, maybe we'll have to figure out a way to condense it. But assuming that the app is in a very early stage, then the quantity of feedback will not be that high. So it will not pollute the context that much, but this feedback will be very good. And what can be feedback? Like, what are different forms in which you can give feedback? Or what all types of feedbacks can exist when you are using this application? One can be like a star rating. So let's say AI agent drafted a reply for a current email. I really like the reply, so I directly sent it, which means there is zero change between what the agent created and what I finally sent, right? So one is marking or storing the change we made to the agent's draft, storing changes to emails. So this will be useful. Why is it useful? Because that way the LLM can learn that this is the reason why I did not like its reply. I have specifically changed one or two sentences in the reply, and the LLM can learn from it. Storing changes to emails. Second thing is we can have some star rating, which will tell the degree with which its response was accepted by us. We can also have something like keywords or like a one-line comment saying the email was too generic, or we can have a comment-based feedback, right? And this feedback needs to be stored somewhere. We can store it in Supabase. And one more thing that might be useful is past emails or recent emails. So recent emails that were sent. So you know why recent emails give a lot of value? Because if we have accepted an email and if we have already sent it, it means that that already sent or already accepted email is something like a gold standard, meaning as a user, I accept this email, which is the reason why I decided to send it. So that will be very useful for my, not judge, my agent to realize that, oh, this is actually a good example of an email, right? So recent emails that were sent, this also we should store in the database. So if we have this much that we are passing as part of the context, we are hoping that the LLM, whichever one we are using, will be able to craft a very good response. Then now let's go down. So we will have, one more thing I forgot to mention is, what if there is a new data set that is added to a knowledge base? For example, if your knowledge base had information about your programs, and let's say you are now having some new programs, it is a painful thing for you to go to the backend manually and in Supabase add, manually add the new data into your database. So it will be great if on your application itself, on the front end, there is something which allows you to add new information into your database, right? And one more thing that you can do is, one more thing which we can implement in the app is setting some sort of rules. So by rules here, what I mean is, let's say your email agent, you notice that an email agent is making some big mistake in some of its replies, that it is hallucinating about one particular thing. You can create a rule saying this should never be done, and that rule will always be there in the context. So this rule also, so that it'll be great if there is a provision in the application to set some rules, which irrespective of which emails you're replying to, the agent is taking care of that. Rule is like, yeah, some sort of guardrail, because if something is always present in the context, it will act to a great extent as a guardrail, right? In any case, there is a guardrail. The guardrail is human. There is a human in the loop, unless you are completely automating the pipeline where you create a confidence score, and for those emails where the confidence score is greater than 90, you decide to send the reply automatically. If it is less than 90, a human in the loop is coming. In that case, the guardrails need to be very, very strong. But yeah. And what about the tone of reply? So all of that will be in this email writing preferences. So in the email writing preference, we will feed information about what type of reply should it be, a long reply, short reply, etc. Is my voice not very clear? If you can confirm, maybe it's just my mic or internet. Okay, thanks. So this also I mentioned, okay? So AI would have generated an email reply. So before versus after, if we modify this AI generated email, the before version is the AI's original version. After version is the version which we created after modifying AI's version. So that also, if we store in Supabase or whatever the database is, it will be very good. Another couple of features that you will need is, you will require an authentication system. Authentication system as in, just like how you log into your email, Gmail, just provide the same login access to this so that only you can access it. Second thing is, something that will be nice is if there is a way to easily change the API key. So if you are using OpenAI or Gemini, if the API key, let's say, expired, it'd be nice if a API key modification provision is there in a simple way. Then a few more features which I think will be beneficial for the application is, if we already made a reply to a particular email in the primary inbox. So by the way, we will only be looking at the primary inbox, the updates, social, forums, those things we don't care, right? We typically don't respond to those emails. We reply primarily in our primary inbox. So from the primary inbox, if we already made a reply, it will be great if we simply archive the email. Archive meaning it will not be deleted, it will still be there, but we will not see it in the front end. That way, our front end is very clean. Second is, we will ensure that the LLM is never auto-replying. This is easy to implement because Gmail API needs to be called. So unless we click a button, Gmail API will not be called. And to make our life easier, we should not have to give any custom command to start generation. As soon as we select a particular email thread, the reply to that particular thread should be created in one click. And of course, we should have a provision to modify the email and send it if we need to modify it. So then the amount of modifications that we will have to make will be high in the beginning, and it will be low, hopefully, as the app becomes better and better with our usage. Okay. So this is the overall structure. Now we can open our Visual Studio Code. And I have a folder here. So this is my folder. Okay, I have named it as Building Email Agent Live. So you can also create a working directory in your open in your Visual Studio Code, and or whatever is your IDE. And here I'm showing you the knowledge base which I had for my earlier, my current actual email agent that I am using. So I'll show you a folder. So this is my knowledge base, which I will not be using today. I just pasted it here just to show you how complex it is and how it actually looks like. So one thing I want to show you is this emails folder. So this emails folder has, I think, 12 or 13 JSON files. Each of these JSON files correspond to all the email threads happened in a month. So all these are emails from our last 1 year of emails. Okay. And look at the size of these JSON files. If a JSON file is 34 MB, it's huge, meaning that the number of emails here is huge. So the total size of these JSON files alone is maybe like 200 to 300 MB, which is very high. Okay. So this is one reason why we cannot pass the data directly in a raw format to our context. It will easily exceed our context, or it will rot our context. Second thing is the knowledge base. So we have a bunch of courses, information regarding those courses, all created in this JSON format. And it's very, very long. So this is that JSON format document. And this also, if we pass it directly to our context, this will not be good. People might think, okay, we can directly convert this JSON into some format or store this as some, bulk data set in Supabase engine, then just retrieve it whenever needed, then retrieve the full thing whenever needed. But that won't be an ideal thing. So we have to create much compressed version. So what I'm going to do is I will start from scratch. Let me just delete this knowledge base because this is not what we are going to use. We'll use a separate one. Was the knowledge base JSON created by LLM? No, that was not generated by LLM. That particular knowledge base was generated using an MCP, which connects to my Firestore database. So it fetches all the course information, creates JSON files for individual courses. Then I asked LLM to write a Python script. And then for using the Python script, I compiled those individual JSONs into one single JSON. But then later I created a much more condensed version. Now for today's purpose, I have created a simple CSV file, which I will show you in a moment. So this is the CSV file. I think I should just open it, but I think you can see what it looks like. So comma separated means each comma, before and after each comma, it's a separate column. So first column is course name, course link, course description, starting date, etc. So this I created using ChatGPT just today morning. It's fairly easy. I just asked it to create some sample data set. Okay, so I asked it to mention details about 150 courses with these details. So it's not a very big data set. It's a kind of small data set. So I will share the knowledge base with you guys. So let me first create a GitHub repo for this. That also I can ask Cloud Code to do. Create a public GitHub repo for this titled Visuara email agent building. No, I have not connected with GitHub MCP. I'll tell you how this works. Just give me 1 second. My computer is slowing down a little bit. Let me just close if there are any background processes. You can actually do in parallel, but if you are stuck somewhere, you can, of course, refer to the recording. The goal today is not just for you to watch the lecture, it's to build it. And there are so many steps. So I think you can catch up. Okay, now about connecting with GitHub. So I'll tell you how I connected with my GitHub. So just go to github.com or search GitHub access token on Google. And then here you will see an option. I mean, on Google itself, you will see an option called managing GitHub personal access tokens. And where is the link? Yeah, GitHub auth login should also work. Yeah, I created access token so that each time I don't need, whenever I'm switching my workspace to my AWS EC2 instance, I can just provide the access token. But yeah, you can easily use GitHub auth also. Anything is fine. But anyways, let me just find this first. Satyajit, if I go any slower, this will take you guys 6 hours before you leave. So there is a lot to cover. So the whole reason why I'm recording this is because I'm pretty sure that because each of you have different systems, for some of you Python might be an issue, for some of you you might get stuck at some other place. So I'm sure that 100% of you will not be follow it fully during the live lecture, but you can follow it afterwards. But let me just find if any of you just find the direct link to get the access token, that'll be great. Otherwise, I'll just show you how to access using GitHub CLI. Log into GitHub using CLI or auth. So once I create the GitHub, I'll share the link with all of you. You can just get this dummy data from there. Oh, thanks, Vishnu. So yeah, this is where you can create the personal access token. I have already created one for my AWS, but what you can do is this link which Vishnu has shared, click generate token, and it will ask you for your passkey for logging in for sure. And you name the token and give it appropriate permissions, like if it needs to access all repositories. Okay, so let's say you click all repository, and then here is an option to add permissions. So if you add all permissions, basically this access token will act like a complete admin, an admin who has complete access to your GitHub, which is not recommended. If it needs to get access to only some specific repositories, you should only give that level of access, right? So in the permissions, you can give appropriate permissions. Okay, but the idea is if you have the access token, keep it private and you can use it whenever you need to connect to GitHub. So it'll make your life very easy. Yeah, the process is basically this link which Vishnu has shared. Just go to that link, create an access token. In the access token, give whatever just give whatever permissions you need to give. Don't give permissions for all, just give repository level permissions. But that and all, actually GitHub permission is like a lazy thing to do. You don't really need it. If you are using GitHub desktop or something on your computer, you can manually push the changes to GitHub. You don't need AI agent to push the changes. But just because I'm just continuing everything here on GitHub on CCO, I'm just doing it. But this is the repo. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, now let me ask it to push everything to the repo. So far to the repo. So this is the repo. Just open it, clone it, and you should find, once this is pushed, you should find the knowledge base there. So this is the CSV file with roughly 150 dummy course dataset. Okay, so just take a clone of this. Next is, let's create a basic markdown documents, something like initial.md, in which we will mention all of our details, what we want to build. So I want to an email reply agent for Gmail. Then use Gmail API to fetch everything from primary inbox. The agent should craft the reply using OpenAI or Gemini API. Then there should be a Supabase database where the knowledge is stored. Basically, we have courses or programs regarding which we will receive emails. So when the reply is crafted, it should refer to the document mentioning the program info. Then what else do we need? I need the ability to modify the email drafted by AI before sending, if required. And then the next thing is, in the Supabase, the original email drafted by AI. I usually use Whisperflow for speech to text, but right now I'm not using it because I realize my computer has become slow. Maybe because I have not updated Zoom or something like that. It's becoming a bit slow. So that's the reason I'm just directly typing. In the Supabase, the original drafted email drafted by AI, and the one I sent should be stored. The front end should be deployed on Vercel. If backend functions are needed, you can use Railway. All right, so I just gave this as the command, and there are many more things which we have discussed in the Miro notes, which we are missing right now. Yeah, authentication system. We'll come to that. Then I also tech stack. I think it will ask. We can say ask for our preferences. What type of front end, what stack do we need to use in the back end? Yeah, but there are so many instructions, right? First, we should give the instructions, and then let's divide this whole building into different phases. Okay, then we have to fetch some emails from our inbox. So that I will do a bit separately. I will first ask Cloud Code to create a separate function for fetching the email, because today the email that I'm going to use for this demonstration purpose is a different email of mine. So this is the email which I don't use that frequently. I rarely reply to anyone on this. So you can see that many of the inbox is like some useless junk, but we can use this. So here there is really no data which somebody can utilize to teach our agent. But what I will do is, like, I will create my own writing preferences separately. But I will also show you, if you need to scrape data from your own Gmail, how can you do that? And then you should never send an email automatically the user should approve with one button click. Implement authentication so that only the owner of the email has access. The login can be via Google login. Then the other feature that we need is, yes, for every email reply, there should be a star rating and textual feedback option that is stored on Supabase. This we will do later. This provision for adding new data we can add a bit later. Then existing knowledge base, yes. The existing knowledge base in the CSV file in the working directory should be converted to a vector database and stored in Supabase. You will have to perform RAG to fetch the relevant info from the vector database. There are a lot of spelling mistakes, but I'm just ignoring it. Okay, I think this much initial information is enough for the time being. We can add the rest of the things later. The implementation should happen in phases. So you should plan first, ask my preferences, and then execute in phases. All right. Maybe instead of initial.md, I'll just rename this as idea.md or something. Okay, and let me just push this. Actually, you know what? This is annoying. So what I'll do is I'll show you how the easier way to use GitHub. So this is the GitHub repo, right? So I have GitHub desktop. If you install GitHub desktop, you can just say open with GitHub desktop. Do we need to log the completion metrics? Ajiket, what is the completion metrics? Like completion of what? You mean the phase implementation or something else? Log the completion metrics. So when you say metrics, you mean for each phase, if it did this so and so, should we log it somewhere? It's not needed because whether a phase has been implemented or not, we are anyway, in this particular case, it's not needed because we will anyway see it in our front end, whether something is implemented. Let me not open GitHub desktop, guys, because again, there is a little bit of slowness. By the way, I can ask it to open it in my GitHub desktop. Open this in GitHub desktop. Push latest changes to GitHub. Yeah, I know Claude can do it. It's just that I just want to show you where I skip the Claude altogether. Like whenever a change is made, I can just with one mouse click from GitHub desktop, we can just commit and push the changes. So that I don't need to keep on using Claude Code for it. But anyways, it's pushed to the GitHub. So if you need my exact idea.md file, you can take it from GitHub. Now I'll ask, let me increase the font size a little bit. I'm not sure if it's fully readable for you. Create a detailed Claude.md file based on the instructions provided in idea.md. And again, here Claude.md will be only used during the building of this application. Once it is built, once it is deployed, we are not using anymore the Claude Code environment at all. It's a production environment where the only LLM that is coming into picture is whatever LLM we have access to, right? So this Claude.md will not be used once the app is working. So meanwhile, just let me know, where are you guys at? Okay, so Claude.md is ready. Let's just look at the structure. We can just open it as a proper markdown file. So I have installed like a markdown preview plugin. So if I just press Command Shift V, whatever markdown file I have opened, I can see it in a nice way. So this is the same Claude.md, but I'm viewing it using this preview plugin. AI-powered email reply agents, which helps visual response. And so the agent fetches emails from primary inbox, drafts context-aware replies using RAG, lets the user review, edit, approve. No email is sent automatically. Very good. So front end Next.js deployed on Vercel. So here it did not ask my preferences, which is okay. I could have said, okay, make sure that for front end and back end user preferences are also asked. But maybe it will ask. Let's see. System flow. This is fine. Core requirements, Gmail integration, AI reply with RAG. Convert this into Markdown extension name is called, I think, MD preview or something. Let me just check. Markdown. This one, I think it's this Markdown preview with 8.8 million downloads. You can just search Markdown preview in the extensions. You will see that. Then, yeah, so email reply. So once you have the Gmail integration done, this we have not done yet. We are yet to do it. Email reply drafting using RAG. So first, this CSV file has to be converted into vector database. I will show you exactly how the vector looks like in Supabase. Then human in the loop for sure, authentication, so that only people who are having access to the original Gmail should get access to this app. Then Supabase database schema. There is a table for storing emails. There is a table for storing replies. I don't know if there should be two separate tables like that, but anyways, that we can modify. Feedback, there should be one table. Course embeddings, there should be one table. This is also where the vector embedding will show up. So you will see inside this table the vector embedding corresponding to the course. Then knowledge base / RAG pipeline, feedback system with star rating, implementation phases. First is the foundation, knowledge base, Gmail integration, email reply generation, feedback and polish, then deployment. Okay, let's go with the first phase. So all of these instructions are in natural language. You can simply say, in natural language just to go ahead with phase one. So let us start implementing in phases now. So I'm simplifying this as much as I can. The reason is the amount of time it required for me to build my actual Gmail email app is like humongous, because there are a lot more details which I added, and I have probably spent 2 or 3 weeks on it. This is like a much more distilled version of that. Okay. Before we start phase one, I have a few preference questions. AI provider, OpenAI or Gemini, or for both. So both OpenAI and Gemini options should be there. Then Supabase, do you already have Supabase project, or I have Supabase account, but no project? If you don't have account, you can just log into Supabase using Google or GitHub. Google Cloud project, do you have one set up with Gmail ID? I don't have Google Cloud project. Then package manager, npm is fine. UI framework, UI, I'm fine with pretty much anything. Tailwind is fine. You can take the call here. I'll just copy this, and I'm not sure. Okay, by the way, if I paste this command in the chat, you probably won't get the exact same questions, but regardless. So the first command was based on idea.md, create detailed claude.md. Once claude.md is created, it will show different phases. Of course, the phases will not be exactly same for each of you. It will be completely different. But more or less it will be the same because our idea.md document is the same. So and then once these phases are ready in the claude.md, just ask Claude to start the execution. Then it will start the execution in phases. And since in the idea.md we had asked it to ask our preferences at different steps, it will ask our preferences. Okay, so manual setup needed first of Supabase, then manual setup of Cloud. This also we will do. What else? Okay, so now Cloud Code has asked us to set up Supabase and set up Google Cloud Console. So this all of us can do together because all of us will need this. The first thing is Supabase. So just click supabase.com/dashboard. If you don't have a Supabase account, just go to Supabase and log in using your GitHub. Anything should work. And I have bunch of projects here. So I will, you know what this urine smell tracker is. Our earlier office had a lot of issue with the bathroom. So I created a agent to automatically send them an email. Please clean the bathroom. Then visuaras.org. So here I will name the project as, what should I name? Email reply agent v2 demo. So just go to Supabase, log in using your username. I mean, if you have username, password, login using that, or Gmail, I think Google also will work, or GitHub. Once you are here, just let me know. You have to create a new project. You will have to create one organization. I think there will be one organization available for you to be created for by free. Then database password, I can just put some strong password. Okay. And enable data API, enable this. I don't think we need to enable by default. So just create a project. And I don't need this password, so I'm just saying never. So this is the Supabase project, and we have to set up a few things. So first thing is new project, name it something like this, choose a strong database password, select a region, all of this is done. So now what we need to provide to Cloud Code is the project URL, anonymous public key, service role key. So where you can find is on the left-hand side of the Supabase dashboard, you can see a bunch of things. So here in the project settings, if you scroll down, or here itself, you can see where is that API keys. Before that, let me copy the project URL. I forgot to copy. So I will just paste this in a TXT file for the time being, but obviously you should not paste these things in TXT file. I'm just creating this as a temporary thing. Okay. Ideally, it should be in a .env file. I will ask Claude to do that. So keys.txt. So this is the Supabase URL. Then I will need anonymous anon publish key. And I need there was one more thing which was service role key. So that you can find, I think, in JWT keys. Let me just find. I'm not sure where exactly to find the service role key. Let me just, yeah, I think it's over here in the API keys section in the second tab. Public key I got from this API keys section here in the publishable and secret API key. This publishable key is the public key. The URL of the Supabase project you can find from the project overview page. And this service role key is over here. Service. Okay, so that is also done. So you need three things from Supabase. One is the project URL, Supabase URL, public key, and the Supabase service role key. You can find it from the dashboard. Second thing is we need, oh, you can use search function in the dashboard to get these details. Amazing. Thanks for sharing, Satyajit. Second thing you will need is the API key for accessing Google Gmail account. So for that, we need to create a Google Cloud account. Many of you might already have a Google Cloud account. I'm not sure how many of you actually have tried this before, but you can just search Google Cloud and go to this. And by default, it will ask you to create an account. Okay. By default, it will, if you go to this console option, it will ask you to create an account. But I today morning created a free trial account. I already have a bunch of other accounts, but I don't want to use that for this demo project. But here in Google Cloud Console, it will ask you, you can create a free account which will last for 90 days. And it's free. You will have free $300 credits, two-step verification. Turn on two-step verification. Okay. Okay, so this is done. Two-step verification enabled almost. Arun, maybe it will ask you for Google Cloud account in the next step for you. But in any case, whether it is asking or not, you should do this step because you will need it at the later stage. Because you need to connect your Gmail to your application, right? So Gmail API is needed and this Google Cloud is required for that. So the way things work in Google Cloud is you have to create projects and different API or different apps are part of the projects. This I have already done. Let me just refresh. Let me just quickly check my internet speed. It's a bit. Okay. Yeah. So basically what we need is the JSON file and the token, correct? So this is our first project. And here we need to create Gmail API. So search in the search bar, search for Gmail API. Then you will find this Gmail API option. And for this project, so my project name is called my first project. We need to enable Gmail API. So just click enable. And let's go back to Claude. Claude will need API and services OAuth consent screen. Choose external user type, fill in the app name, add scopes. So this is the OAuth consent screen option. You just need to follow these steps. So let me just take a screenshot of this and put on your on the chat so that everyone can follow this. So I just shared the steps on the chat. Just follow that. And get started. App name Visuara email dummy. Yeah, I have steps for Supabase also. I will share that also in the chat. Audience, internal, external. I think this can be kept external. Then email address. Here also I'll give my own email address. I agree, continue, create. Now we need to create an OAuth client, I believe. So first, external user type, add scopes. Then in API and services, go to credentials. So has all of you created the Supabase yet? Just let me know where you are at right now. So OAuth client I need to create. my application is a web application. So application type is web application. Name, I can put anything. Web client 1 is fine. Then authorized JavaScript origins. So authorized origins, I think I can just put localhost 3000, assuming we'll be local hosting this on this particular, in the beginning, we'll be local hosting it here. Name of the app can be anything, doesn't matter. You can put whatever name you want. It is just for reference. And for authorize redirect, whatever this is, followed by slash API slash auth slash callback slash Google. It's there in the instruction, the screenshot which I shared. So now, once you are deploying the app, you will have a separate, and it will ask you for a JSON download. So this JSON will have all the information regarding this app, which you will need for connecting your Gmail to your web app. So just download JSON. I'm not sure if it got downloaded or not. Okay, so this JSON, you can drag and put it inside your working directory. I think that's all we need. A download slash copy the client ID and client secret. So that should be there in the JSON file. Now what we can say is I have pasted Supabase details in the keys.txt and the JSON from the Google Cloud is added to the working directory. So now automatically this will realize that Cloud Code will realize that we have to add this into the .env file. So it should hopefully create a .env file now. Yeah, so keys.txt file has three things. The Supabase URL, then public key and Supabase service role key. So those are the three things you need. And in the JSON file, which is directly downloaded from the Google Cloud, it will have the client ID and client secret. Now let me scaffold phase one. I'll create Next.js project and set everything up. So it's now building the Next.js app, and hopefully we'll see. I'm not sure if authentication, Google login authentication is being set in phase one directly or not yet. We'll see. Where are you guys at? Have you done at least the two things, Supabase setup and the Google Cloud setup? Have you done those two things? And by the way, if this same thing you want to apply for Slack, Slack has an MCP, much easier that way. Or if it is Discord, Discord also allows you to connect through MCP, I believe. Yeah, so Google Cloud steps, the steps are shared in this particular screenshot. If you scroll a little bit above, how do I tag it? I just need to pin it somewhere. Yeah, I have just pinned it. So in Google Cloud, basically first you need to create OAuth consent screen. The app name does not matter. That you can put whatever name, doesn't matter. But what you need to put correctly is the local host. So put localhost 3000 for the 3000 or any port is fine. And then the redirect URL, I'll just show you that you guys might need. So this you can keep as the authorized JavaScript URL. And obviously the 3000 can be replaced with anything, doesn't matter. But by default, you can keep it like this. Agents.md, not necessarily. We can create it. Please zoom in. Okay, in terminal, let me just, I'll zoom in one more step. How about now? Is this better? Oh, this is too much. I can't read anything now. Yeah, this is better, I hope. I will also say once done, push the changes to GitHub. Also, you will notice, for those of you who are familiar with this, .gitignore is the file which will not be pushed into GitHub. Okay, so in .ignore, we have to mention which files from this will not be pushed. So you see this .env file is included in .gitignore, meaning it will be ignored while the commit and push is being created. Node modules will have a bunch of files with respect to the npm packages that also you don't typically push into GitHub, that you produce locally. Yeah, so you will not find the env file on your side once it is created. Uh, yeah, that is a good idea. Yeah, I will show you once where the service role key can be found. In any case, these I will be deleting. I know that this is not the right way to keep using the key, but um, so regarding service role key, this is where you have to go. You see this section, this tab called publishable and secret keys. That is where you can find the publishable key, and then this legacy anonymous slash service role API key. From that, you can find the this one, service underscore role secret. So you just enable to view it, and then you can copy and paste it. Okay, so OAuth authentication is actually implemented in phase one itself. Post Google and Supabase, can we summarize the steps again? Yeah. So Supabase is for database, then Google authentication. For app to be deployed, you will require Vercel for front end, or anything is fine, but I'm using Vercel. Sometimes you might need to have some backend Python scripts running in a server. If that is needed, um, you should probably give access to Railway also. But I cannot recollect for this particular app. Probably some backend functions are not needed. But let's come to that. I don't think Railway is needed for the time being. Please where to enter scopes for Gmail read only. That I did not modify, Roshan. I just kept the default. So right now I think the API will have all the access, whatever is default. You can change it later. This clerk asked me to do for a clerk. I'm not sure what does that mean. I don't know what it means. Asking to do for clerk, meaning what does that imply? I'm not sure. If no backend, then front end code will do RAG and LLM API calls, etc. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. So in the current app which I have, there is a Railway backend, but that is for a very different functionality. I don't think I'm running a Python script or something to do the LLM API call or doing the RAG. But we'll see when we come to that, because sometimes the Cloud Code itself will ask for hosting a Python script on Railway. Yeah, yeah. What is the shape of your app currently? Like how much is it still being built? Yeah, so if front end, ideally front end should not do this. So in if this is a public facing app, right? Let's say you are building something where the same URL public is coming and they are using their individual accounts or something like that. The best practice is not to do anything in the front end. Do everything in backend. So create environment variables in Railway and store the OpenAI Gemini API keys in Railway. Let's come to that in a moment. Last command was to start building. So I asked to start phase one building. Then it asked me to give Supabase and Cloud Code, Google Cloud information. I gave it that. And then now it is continuing to build these four things: the basic setup and Google Auth authentication. Oh, I mean, this is just, it's just something that Claude keeps saying. I mean, next step is simply asking Cloud Code to continue building phase one. That's it. It will take you, see, it has taken me 11 minutes so far, right? So it'll take you some time. Level of front end will be there. Like we will be able to see something. Yeah, of course, Gitifying is that. But sometimes it'll keep saying some weird tomfoolering. It'll keep on saying depending on what it's doing. There are like a lot of memes surrounding what Cloud says depending on what it does. For email polling, which option, cron job or Gmail push notifications, real-time webhook? Email polling means, here in this context, what does it mean by email polling? Is it asking regarding how often to fetch the latest emails from the API? It can be based on, or is it something else? If it is about how often should the Gmail API latest email should be fetched from the API, simply it can be based on a refresh. It need not be a cron job. Yeah, cron job means I think it will keep on doing something as a function of time. Okay, how to react for incoming emails? Yeah. So for our own purposes, right? The Gmail required a lot of additions. One is speed. So one of the practices that we have is keeping, because the same inbox is being looked at by 3 or 4 different people, we need to keep the inbox a little bit clean. Now, Gmail has a certain way, like you can enable keyboard shortcuts in Gmail. And one of the keyboard shortcuts for archiving an already replied email is like E. So if you press the key E, an email will be archived, which means it will not be there in the inbox. You can see it when you go to the all mails, that option. So one problem that I noticed was in the app that we created, whenever I was trying to archive, once the archive functionality is implemented, it was too slow. So when I have to move from one email to another, the the time it takes to make that switch is like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, which is like a bit annoying. Then we were looking at how Google implemented the same thing. And Google has something where, and first of all, this archiving is also another API call, right? So we can't do it as fast as Google probably. I don't know internally what they do. But in our case, what we did is the moment I press archive or E button, the process will happen in the background. But in the front end, we will immediately make the email disappear. Meaning in the front end, we will see as if that email is gone. But in the back end, it may take a few more seconds to actually archive the email. So we did something like that to improve the user experience so that we can go through the emails a bit faster. Then another issue that I noticed was in the Supabase, some tables were not getting updated. This issue most likely today we'll again see. And then sometimes what happens is in Supabase you will have to run some custom SQL command yourself by copy pasting it. So to create new tables sometimes, and sometimes the Claude code, the code itself, which was written by Claude, was making a mistake where my original plan was whenever an email is modified between 5 to 10 percentage, I have to notice that change and I have to store the original email and the changed email in the database. But if an email has been completely modified, like let's say there is 50% change or 70% change, it should not be stored, because then there is no point, there is nothing for AI to learn. That was my thought. Then what was happening was the way the code was written had a logic issue, the flaw in the logic, that all the change, even minor change, it was because of a slash tab or some extra character coming in the in the email. All the emails, irrespective of whether I make 1% change or 90% change, were experiencing huge change. The way Cloud Code was, the code was taking it was such that the email what I sent, even if a minor change is made, is actually 90% change. And because of this, no email was getting stored in my Supabase database. So this problem we did not realize initially. We ended up realizing it when the quality of our response started degrading, because no email was getting stored. We realized then we had to check the Supabase manually for every single interaction to ensure that the way items are stored in Supabase are the way we intend it to be stored. Then what else? So where are you guys at? Are you guys still in the implementation phase for phase one? Yeah, so context window management. Okay, yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is I had created a separate page for context window management for my app. So in my app, I was using Gemini API. So I wanted to know what exactly is going into the Gemini API call into the context for each and every email response creation. So then I created a context visualizer in which the exact content from the each file, whatever is being fetched from Supabase, exact content will be displayed in the front end so that I can see what context is being displayed. Such a thing we can also build here. Because if we don't know visually what goes into the context of the LLM, we will never be able to manage it properly. So for context management, one thing that we are definitely going to do here is RAG. Okay, let me know when you are ready for phase 2. Okay, something seems to be done. Let's see. Mm, migration SQL in Supabase in SQL editor, enable Google Auth in Supabase authentication providers, add your OpenAI or Gemini API keys to environment local. Okay, let's do this. I'm not sure if Supabase allows any other. I think primarily its database is Postgres SQL. I'm not sure if it has any other database format. Uh, okay, first of all, where is the SQL code which I have to run? Give me the SQL code to run in Supabase SQL editor in a separate file here. Then enable Google OAuth in Supabase authentication provider. Of course, I can do that. I want to show you one more thing. Let's just look at this. There is something called table editor. Um, and here you can see that there are no tables yet, meaning in Supabase, there is nothing. So I just went to the Supabase database. On the left-hand side, you will see a bunch of icons. On the table-like icon is there. That is table editor. Or even in project overview, you will see something called, or not in project overview. Here you see something called database. So in the database, there are nothing yet, no tables yet. So to create the table, instead of manually, if you want to create it automatically, Cloud Code will typically, when you deal with Supabase, it will give you these SQL functions to run. I'm not sure if Cloud Code can directly run it in Supabase or not. Maybe it can. Maybe we can ask it. But in the interest of time, since I already have it here, I will show you how to run this manually. So it will often, when you work with Supabase, it will automatically ask you to create Supabase tables using the SQL. Uh, so just go here, find this SQL editor, and then paste the SQL code which Cloud Code gave you here, and then just command enter to run. And if it is successful, it says success, no rows returned. Now, hopefully, when we see the database, there should be some tables. Let's see if something is there. See, so some tables are ready. Uh, Feedback table, course embedding table, replies table, emails table. So the tables are ready. And okay, now we need Gemini or OpenAI API key so that I have available. So env file, I'm not going to show directly because it's not a good practice. But env file should ideally have all the, I mean, I have already shown you most of the keys, but in general, env files, let's say you want to keep it separately. You can create a .env.example file. I can show you a dummy. But ideally, it should have Supabase um, links, and then it should have the OpenAI API key, and what else? Okay, I have already ran the SQL migration. But I have not enabled OAuth in Supabase. I don't know how to do it, so let me ask Cloud Code how to um, enable. Okay, run enable Google OAuth in Supabase. Go to authentication providers Google, toggle it on, place the client ID and secret. How to give me link where we can paste in Supabase. I'm also not sure why Supabase requires Google OAuth right now. Last time, the way I implemented was my app required Google OAuth, not Supabase. But let's see. Authenticate your users through a suite of providers. Okay. Also in the Google Cloud Console, add this as an authorized redirect URL. So that is done. Authentication is one time or they have expiry? It has expiry, but I think the authentication token will survive for whatever the typical duration is. This also is done. This is also done. So maybe for some of you, Supabase and Google connection, it will not ask. Last time when I built it, there was no such thing. Just my web app was getting connected to Google, so I never had to provide Supabase redirect URL to the Google Cloud. Build the script to parse the CSV, generate embeddings via OpenAI, and store them. But it will be great if frontend is ready for me to see the frontend. Can you local host the website so far? Yeah, I will be providing the recording for those of you who are late for sure. Has anyone reached a point where the phase one is getting closer to completion? I don't think everybody will have 6 phases. In my case, I have 6 phases, but you may have different number of phases. Yeah, so the callback URL is pasted over here. So wherever you have pasted the callback URL for the local host, right? So you would have pasted something like this in the authorized redirect URL. Below that, just add the URL and then paste it here. So I'm just manually just local hosting this once. Let's see how it looks like in dev mode. Okay. So this is the login screen, and here I will have to message is not. Okay. So in the first step, I am getting this error that authentication is not working. Terminal prompts as is. So if I paste, so I have not given too many terminal prompts, by the way. The only terminal prompts that I have given are pasting so see, terminal prompts will slightly depend on what the Cloud Code is outputting you, right? So for me, Cloud Code was asking to do some things in Supabase and in Cloud Console. So I did both of that. But I think depending on what the structure of the project is, sometimes it will not ask you to connect Supabase and Google directly. So that's the reason why I don't think it's that useful to have the same terminal commands. But if you ask me which step you are at, I can tell you what to do at that step. But yeah, if there are any major building related commands, I will share those commands directly in the terminal. Okay, phase 2 is complete. In the login, I am getting this error. So the reason why I pasted this is my local host, and when I try to log in using Google, it's not showing me the Google login pop-up. Rather, it's throwing me the error. So you can just fix it. Enable Google, go to this, find Google, enter the client ID, enter the secret. I thought I already did this. Okay, the problem was I had not flipped this switch to enable the Google login. So now it is enabled. So probably it should work now. Okay, so now it's asking me to log in using Google. Yeah, Google authentication in this is implemented using. Okay, now I'm getting a new error. Access blocked. This has not completed Google verification process. All right. Now I am getting this error. Oh, we need to add this user to the test user. Okay, add your Gmail address, the one that you are trying to log in with. I thought I already did that, but let's see. Thanks for that suggestion, Vishnu, by the way. Any user with Google account? Not yet. Add users. I think this is needed because I have not published the app. It is in the testing stage. So I need to add the users who are eligible to log in to see the test. Okay, so now hopefully, since my email is here, hopefully it should work. Google hasn't verified the app. You should only continue if you develop, you know the developer. Okay. Sign in. Select all. Okay, so something is working in the app so far. Um, I don't know the I don't know where is the inbox yet. Authentication is working. Okay. So okay, so far so good. Inbox has not been set up yet, or I don't know if there is a separate link for the inbox. It is working now. Where can I see the inbox? We did not give the any Vercel information yet because this is still in localhost. So I have not deployed it, right? So I have not connected it with Vercel. That I will do at the end. Why connect it right now? Uh, Now the dashboard just shows a placeholder message. Email integration is in phase 3. Right now we haven't built it yet. Okay, so in phase 3, we will fetch the emails from primary inbox, display them, store fetched emails in Supabase. Why should we store fetched emails in Supabase? That is not needed. Yeah, I think there is some hallucination here by Cloud Code because the reason why Cloud thought Supabase and Gmail should be connected is because Supabase emails are being stored in Supabase, but that is not needed. We don't need it. The original idea was to keep a record of which emails got AI replies and link them, but we can simplify fetch emails live from Gmail API and only store the email reference when a reply is actually created. Exactly, that is better. That is what we need. So what Cloud Code was thinking so far is that it thought um, we are going to store every single email in Supabase, but that is not the case. We are only storing those emails to which we make a reply because they are useful emails. But every single email in the inbox need not be stored in Supabase. That is the reason why Cloud Code asked us to connect Supabase and Gmail, Google, but that is normally not needed. So right now we are simplifying it. So now, hopefully, after this phase 3 simplified update is done, we should see the emails being fetched and our inbox being displayed here. Let's see that. Also, I hate this font. I don't like this style at all. It's really bad, but that we can change in the end. So the main thing is working now, which is authentication with Google. So can you tell me, can you guys just text in the chat, where are you at? Are you still in the phase 1 building stage, or have you ended up getting something up in localhost yet, or where are you guys? Okay. For phase one, how many minutes is it showing so far? Has it crossed like 25 minutes and all, or is it still uh, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Oh, you have mail pulls from the Gmail app and shown in the app. Okay, amazing. That's awesome, Murali Krishna. It's amazing. Do we need this front end Supabase JWT secret? I don't think so. I don't think we need that. We just need three things from Supabase: the URL, public key, and the service role key. Okay, so if email fetched email is being displayed, it's already amazing. So now ideally you should be able to reply from there itself, reply to someone from there itself. So right now, 90% of the times I use my email app, 10% of the times I use the actual Gmail. Satyajit, we don't have to manually set up the env file that Claude will automatically take care of. You just need to give the API to Claude or put it in a different file and ask it to create env yourself to Claude Code. If anyone can show the screenshot of the UI of the app, you don't have to display any private emails or something, but just if you can just show the UI of the app, a sample, that would be great. Anyone who has the app working, you can just take a screenshot without showing the actual email content or something, just to show the style that just to see the style has that Cloud Code has followed. Oh, by the way, one more thing I forgot to mention. So yeah, 2 days back I was building something with Cloud Code, but I accidentally ended up using Sonnet. Okay, and Sonnet, the output was so bad. I thought Sonnet was also semi decent. I was building a web page, and the output was so bad that I was like confused. Like, why is it suddenly so bad? Then I thought, oh, maybe the model is not Opus 4.6 anymore. So Opus 4.6 is making a huge difference. My thinking was that the agentic architecture that Claude has built, that was making all the difference, but it seems to not be the case. So if any of you ever feel like the output is not so good, just have a look at which model the Cloud Code is using. Okay, this is great, Murali Krishna. It's a simple, let me just open the screenshot. Okay, Pro Plan is nearly impossible. So in Pro Plan, when you are, let's say, building an app like this, if you look at the slash usage, have you noticed that it's like so fast in 1 hour? If you build for roughly an hour, it's exceeding the limits, is it? Okay. Hmm. It's so unfortunate in the sense, like, at least for UI related tasks, I have seen Sonnet is not so good. Opus is really, really good. Uh, but for tasks where you are primarily dealing with code or just text, I think using Sonnet 4.6 is fine. Okay, Vishnu also seems to have a front end ready. Okay, amazing. You can name it something, something which you like. One thing you will notice it this is super slow. Like, this meaning not the building process. Whatever apps you have built by default will be a bit slow. right? So you will have to do additional things to take care of it. Okay, restart the dev server. You should see. So now let's see what has become the status of our local host. I am getting this error. Oh, 6:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. IST. Interesting. In the backend, it has given incorrect category. It should be just inbox. Yeah. That's exactly what I got, like invalid label category. So I just copied it and asked Claude to fix it. So Claude is now changing it to inbox. Primarily because Gmail API probably does not have a category called category primary. So can I ask you, when you use Sonnet 4.6, are you able to manage like the full building session? Just out of your experience, how does it work? Because I'm using 80% of the times Opus 4.6 and only few number of times. Okay, not for full building. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So now it is working. Although the UI is very, very bad, it is working. I will just quickly show the UI of my original app. Although I don't want to spend too much time on it. So this is how the UI of our current actual application looks like, the one which I built. So, uh, so there is a lot of difference. But anyways, we don't care about UI that much right now. Uh, okay, let's see if I send an email to myself. Can any of you send an email regarding, let's say, I have a course. Okay, a RAG is not set up, I guess. Let's check Supabase first of all, what all tables are ready. Then we can come back to email. So in Supabase, go to this section called database and then go to tables. Then you will see these tables. Okay. So now if you want to see the table, so this course embedding should have a vector embedding somewhere, right? So let's view in table editor. And these are the courses, and one of them should be the embedding. See, this is a vector dimensionality. Let's ask Claude Code itself. What is the embedding model did you use for RAG? Which embedding model did you use? What is the dimensionality? And how did you do chunking? And when I deploy the app, do you run RAG in the front end, or should we set up backend in Railway? Reply schema. Yeah, reply schema meaning how the email reply should look like. I have not set it up yet. So that we are going to do in the next step. So right now, the only thing that I have done is created the RAG chat, database in which the course details are there. But apart from that, there is nothing set up. How to reply, how short should be the reply, nothing is there. The table it has automatically created, but we have not done anything manual there. But let's come to that once. I want to see how RAG was implemented. Text embedding 3 small model, 1536 dimensions, cheaper and fast, good for 150 courses. Then chunking strategy, 1 chunk per course. Okay, so that makes sense. Each row is converted to a single text block. Then drag at runtime, drag run server side in Next.js API route, not in the browser. API route receives email, embeds the query, Supabase PG vector, similarity. Then no railway, separate railway backend needed. Next.js API routes on Vercel handles it. Okay. So this is then how my current schema also works. Then railway would be needed only if you have a long running tasks or heavy processes. For this app, Vercel alone is sufficient. Want to proceed with phase 4? Not yet. I just want to see how Supabase looks currently. So Roshan has mentioned 3 tables are empty. Yeah, for me also 3 tables are empty. That is why, because we have not given any tables, any feedback. We have not replied to a single email using AI yet. And this emails, I think, is the I'm not sure what this table is. Let me ask. What is the table called emails doing in Supabase? So these 3 will not get populated by default. We have to keep using the app, but we'll come to that. Let's just first ensure that we have the tables which we need. It's only used when a reply is created to store the email references so that we can link it to replies and feedback table. Without it, we have no way connect. Okay. Where are we storing the AI generated email and the uh, version of the email that I send after editing the AI generated version? Okay, that is anyway coming in phase 4, I guess. So I don't have to jump the gun. Let me just delete this. Okay, let us proceed with phase 4. Okay, for Vishnu is saying, for me, there is a separate ingest.py file that loads the data using the key. Using which key, Vishnu? Okay, okay. But where is this file being executed right now? Are you just running it for the time being to create the 150 course rows? Course embeddings is empty. Did you populate it using the run in Supabase code? Yeah. So I populated it by I think I just got the SQL code right to populate it. No. Wait a second. I think my Claude code would have already implemented the code for populating it. You will have to ask for it separately. To create the dummy table in the first place, you will have to run, to create the tables, you will have to run the SQL code. But if it is empty, you will have to populate it by running the script. For that, you can ask Cloud Code to run the script to populate from CSV file into the Supabase table. Right now in your tables, what all tables are there, by the way? I have 4 tables. This is not the table which I wanted. I wanted one for course embeddings for sure, one for replies and one for feedback. But here this emails is like a reference. Replies is just a reference to emails. I don't want that. It's okay, but I need one more table for storing the changes happening in emails, to track the changes happening in emails. So that hopefully will be created during phase 4. If not, I will manually create it. Okay, course embeddings, replies, and feedback. Yeah. Okay, that is perfect. You don't need both of these. That's what I'm saying. You don't need emails and replies. Just one of them is enough, in my opinion. The reason why my Cloud Code ended up doing this is because initially it started with using Supabase for authentication, which means it thought even all the emails it will have to store. Then it created that. Replies also it created at that time, and now it realized it need not have that. But yeah, in the local host, you know what we can do? We can test this in the local host like this. Maybe um, if I open the CSV file If anyone else got a decent UI for the app, feel free to share a screenshot. I don't like my UI. It's not that great. So this is the CSV file. So to test this, what we can do is I will share my email with you. Let's just make sure that everything is in proper shape. To that email, if you guys can send an email asking information about some course. So all of you have access to the CSV file through GitHub, right? So pick any random course and just send an email to my email, my Gmail. This is my email. I'll put it in chat. Sorry for the typo. Can all of you send an email to this particular email, sridhar.panat@gmail.com, asking for information regarding any one of these courses? Like, I'll just send a bunch of course names here in the chat. But otherwise, if you want to refer to the CSV file, you can get it from the GitHub repo. But these are the courses. Just send an email. Hi, what are the details of this courses? When is it starting or something? Ask some question using which I can craft a response for you. I just want to test because for testing, I need some emails in my inbox. So that's why I'm asking. Then we can see if the RAG is actually working or not. Okay, Shivam has also shared the snapshot. It looks decent. I mean, these are not the best UIs which mimic what Gmail does, but they are decent. When this will become actually useful to you, you should have keyboard shortcuts also. Keyboard shortcuts for navigating. So for my actual app, the up and down arrows are keyboard shortcuts for navigating. E is for archiving, for replying command plus enter. Claude will automatically include some of these shortcuts that are standard, but it will probably not do it for it will not keep the archive shortcut. It will not probably have the up and down arrow navigation shortcut. Okay, build to verify phase 4. So we are done with phase 4. So hopefully now the email reply feature should be done. Okay. Murali Krishna has shared so that is a email crafted response, or let me just download your screenshot. I'm not able to see it right now. Okay, it has course details, is it? Let me just open the screenshot. I'll show it to everyone. One thing we have not set yet is the preferences, reply preferences that we should set. And can you guys also ask your agent what is the embedding model that was used for RAG, the embedding for creating the embeddings, and what was the size of those embeddings? Okay, this is the generated reply for Murali. If you have last mail AR, for instance. Okay, there are some issues I can see. There is this markdown formatting that needs to be better. And also, Murali, can you confirm if there are any URLs provided in the reply? Because I think URL is there in the CSV file. In the reply, is there any URL? Probably not, right? I'm not sure if beyond this, if you scroll down, okay. So that needs to be set up. So we need to say that whenever an email is crafted, it's action oriented. The other person on the other end should be able to perform some action. For that, we have to provide a URL or something which they can click and go to. So that we have to do. But that is easy to do. But this is already decent. Okay. So the reply part will be done in phase. Okay, phase 4 is built, passed, and pushed, ready for phase 5 when you are. Did you guys send an email? Can you guys send an email to my inbox so that I have something in my inbox asking any question? This is my email, Sridhar. Okay, already I have a bunch of questions. So let's look at this. I looked at the course detail, want to understand whether this is recorded query and rack systems in practice. So then if I click this, let's see what happens. Okay, one issue is I have no idea whether there's an email reply being crafted or not. So some circular rotating something or something should be there in the UI. So let's talk about that. I don't uh, the AI reply being crafted. If it is happening in the background, let me know with a rotating circular or processing component. Second thing is, if API is not working, tell me that. Can you manually check my API key? It might very well be that the API key is expired, right? So we can just add a processing icon just so that we know something is happening in the background. Otherwise, we don't know whether the button is working or not. Second is having an API test. Okay, API seems to be valid. Problem is UI. So let's fix that. One thing you should definitely do to make this app usable. So we are actually planning to build an application where anyone, let's say you are a company, you want to build an email app, you can come to our website. We'll release a website where there you can simply log in using your Google account. And then with a button click, the past X number of emails will be fetched. And those fetched emails will be converted into an email knowledge base. From that, a writing preference will be created. And if you have any other knowledge base, that also you can manually add. So we are creating an application, and you should realize the value of this. For most of the teams, maybe big companies will not like something like this because privacy, whatnot. Very small companies or very individuals probably won't need it because number of emails they are replying to is anyway small. But for any company where number of people are between 5 to 500, something like this is very much useful. It will save them tons of time. Okay, make sure to restart after phase 4 changes, click email. Let's see what has happened now. Okay, now I can see the change here. Generate AI draft. One thing good about tools which reply on chat like Slack or email or Discord is that latency is not much of an issue. Latency would be an issue if this was like a voice call agent. Let's say you have a speech to text model, then text to text model, and then again text to speech model. So it's like a cascade of models to create a speech to speech effect, right? There, latency is such a big issue, and there you should definitely not have you should have a much more efficient drag system. Here it took a few seconds, but um, this is fine. So question reaching out to me regarding questions about drag systems in practice. Course is designed to help. Price is so much. Starting date, duration, format. Here link is also provided. The only thing is formatting of this email is like markdown format. That's why I think the star and all are coming. So this should be properly put as txt, but I'll just approve and send. I just want Achal, can you just verify if you get this or not? I'm just approving it. Once you get this, if you can just share a screenshot of how it looks like on your end, that will be great. Okay, reply is sent. And then the replied email will be automatically archived. I don't know if that functionality is implemented yet. Okay, Haraprasad also has a question. Let's SQL for analytics. Yeah, on your end, it will be the Gmail rendering, of course. You should be able to see on your app also, by the way, if the email through which you have sent me this question is the same as the one which you connected to your app, you can see it on your app also. But I just want to see on your actual Gmail how it looks like, whether those star and those things are coming or not. Okay. Okay, star is coming, but the link is rendering properly. Okay, so the formatting needs to be better. And subject, oh, subject is getting printed, or is it the subject? Is it the actual subject? The subject line is it's in the response, right? If I'm not wrong. Okay, so some weirdness is there in formatting, very easy to fix, not an issue. But in principle, a lot of things are working right now in the app. Um, Now, few more things are, okay, it's in the response. So subject should not be there in the response. I'll just create, okay, let's just continue with phase five. Phase five. Meanwhile, I will create the feedback for the current stage. So continue with phase five. Meanwhile, let's create a feedback document. The email content should um, not show the subject. Oh my God, because my computer is slow when I'm typing and when I'm moving, sometimes there is a mismatch. Because Claude is running in the background, there is a lot of slowness right now. Okay, email content should not show the subject. Next is uh, there should not be MD formatting. We can either say HTML for formatting, or we can just say plain text formatting. Let's go with plain text formatting. Use plain text formatting. And what we need is in the signature. Oh my God, these are not my spelling mistakes, guys. My computer is so slow now. Mention my name. Yeah, I will push the current code. Let me just save this and push everything. Okay, anybody else who got at least the emails fetched in the front end? And if any of you, if you got any email response crafted by AI, you can just show that also as a screenshot, or just copy paste the text. Anything is fine. I just want to see the format. This is the difference between Gemini and our custom email reply tool, because here in the database, we can pretty much add anything. Okay, API credit got exhausted. Hmm. Satyajit, did you get that message because your app set it up in the front end, or how did you get to know? Did you get to know about it from the Claude code itself, or did you see that in the front end? Uh, when I asked a question about something else, this is what it figured out. Let me just download the screenshot. Vishnu, if you don't mind, can you just copy the text of that email and then paste it? Because it's taking my computer a bit of time to download and open the screenshot. Based on the AI replies for all the emails you are providing, creating global feedback that you are feeding to the Cloud Code. No, improvement of this app has nothing to do with Cloud Code in production, because in production, Cloud Code is not there in the picture. But improvement will come because ideally to the context from the super base, these tables should be loaded. Let me just open it. Okay, it seems like you might have reached out to someone else, as this is Visuara Online Learning. Okay, the reason why, Vishnu, it says Visuara is probably because in the course database, there is some Visuara name mentioned, right? Otherwise, other than that, nowhere else it is mentioned, right? So, okay, that makes sense. Let me just refresh this. I just want to see if any reply has been stored here, because at least one reply should be stored here right now. Okay, excellent. So this is, let me just view this. Yeah, so this is the reply which I made to Achal, and subject body received at. Okay, this is not the actual reply. I need to see the actual reply which was done using AI. Yeah, so AI draft. So this is the AI draft, right? So it is directly stored here. Now, one thing that is not yet implemented, I think, is editing the AI draft. So if I edit an AI draft, it should be stored. The previous version and the current version should be stored. And feedback hopefully will be now implemented in phase 5. Let's see if phase 5 is done. So phase 5 was, if for any of you, if you have ever found email to be painful, you must definitely build this. You will love it. The current actual production level app that I have, I cannot live without it these days. It's really really saving us time, because sometimes I'm like, oh my God, this knows my mind, because some emails are exactly like how I would have replied, almost to the dot, almost. So then I'm like, okay, wow, this is truly replacing me. My need is not there. Um, okay, let's see phase 5. So phase 5 is star rating plus text feedback UI and storage, email thread view, error handling and loading state, UI polish and responsive design. Phase 6 is deployment. Deployment is the last thing. We don't need to do that right now. But I just want to see, where have we implemented the function for storing the edited email and original AI draft. I don't see that. Let's fix that also. In phase 4, it should have been there, but I don't recollect seeing the edit option. Okay, and everything so far has been pushed to GitHub, so you guys should be able to access it from GitHub. Phase 5 is done. Let's go back to the app. This is another issue with the UI. This is fully blank space, and to see the AI reply part, I have to scroll all the way down. That is not a good thing. Then I have to make 2 clicks. Here I have to say draft AI reply. Then I have to scroll all the way down. And then here again, I have to say generate AI draft. So that also is not a good thing. I just want to see if the functionality for editing has been implemented. Okay. So if I, let's say I delete these 5 lines, and if I send this, so what I expect, okay, and then this is good. How was the draft quality? Let's say 2 out of 5. Uh, Poorly formatted. Then uh, too verbose. Did not ask any. No, this is wrong. If I give wrong feedback just for the sake of it, the reply might become worse over time. But yeah, submit feedback. So now hopefully this should be stored in Supabase, and then it should be loaded into the context. So feedback is 0, but after a refresh, it should be 1 now. Okay, so feedback is now 1, and star rating poorly formatted. Okay, this is good. But what is not good is I don't see the part where in Supabase, I don't see a table for storing original AI draft and my edited final draft. So this should be there. And meanwhile, I need to check what is my model, by the way. I have a feeling like this is not Opus 4.6 because of the bad UI. But let's see. How do you see the feedback pushed into the context? Yeah. For that, we need to have some sort of context visualization. We'll have a look at that. Replies table exists and is empty. No replies yet. What do you mean no replies? Of course, there are replies. Replies. There are 2 replies. Okay. So replies table exists and is empty. Look for replies table. It has columns, ID, email ID, user ID, AI draft, sent body. Okay, so AI draft is also there. Sent body is also there. Once you send a reply to that, both the original draft and your edited version will be stored there. Excellent. Let me just check for my model. Okay, it is Opus 4.6. Now what do we need? Okay, before we edit the UI, we need some sort of context visualizer. I need a page for visualizing the full context, or not a page, in the same page where AI draft is generated. I want to see the full context that is passed into the LLM for generating the reply in text format. So if we visualize this, we can actually see whether things that are loaded into the context are relevant or not. You're adding this requirement in the terminal prompt. How will it be added to Claude.md? So this I'm not asking to be added as a. This is just a feature which I'm currently building. I don't need this as a. It's in the. I don't need this in the Claude.md file, because whatever is there in the Claude.md file, once it is implemented, right? Because this is an app. We are not building technically a coding agent or something like that. It's just an app with bunch of features. So once the feature is built, even if that thing is not mentioned in the Claude.md, it is fine. However, it would not be fine if you want to create a master app, which should act as so let's say you want to sell an application whose only job is to create email agents for anyone. So I want to create an email agent. I will come to this master application and it should build something for me. In that case, you should have an MD file which details all these things. If that is not the case, if you want to do it just once, the moment the feature is built, probably it's okay if things are not directly written into Claude.md file. The best practice is to create newer version of Claude.md file and make sure that in the system prompt, it is always there. If building the application is the activity that you are going to do most frequently. In this case, once the build is done, I am just going to use the app. So my focus is purely on what is going to be there in Supabase. And for each instance of AI reply generation, what is going to be loaded into the LLM's context. In this case, the LLM is OpenAI. So that is what my concern is. But once I build a master application where any customer can buy our app and build their own email agent with just front end, some mouse clicks, then I will be concerned about this. Yeah, so feedback you guys saw, right? I hope you also should be able to see a feedback once, if phase 4 or 5 is implemented, you should be able to see a feedback. In the replies, I just want to see the two versions, original AI draft and the draft which I sent. Okay, so email ID, user ID. So this is the AI draft. And this is the sent body. Okay, sent body, by the way, it should not have subject. So that is a mistake, but I can see the AI draft and the sent email. So this is the AI draft with subject. This is the sent body with subject. So here I had deleted 3 lines. So those deleted lines will not come in here. So this is good. Have you guys checked your Supabase? Do you see 4 or 5 tables depending on how you have built it? Do you see the tables with the um, with the filled entries, or is it still empty tables? Just feel free to let me know. And one thing you might notice is the slowness of the app. To fetch API, it's very slow. You will notice that sometimes everything is like bunch of emails are fetched in bulk. You probably don't want to do that. You have to implement pagination so that in one page only so many emails are being fetched. So there are a bunch of extra things which you can do to make the app super fast. One thing I have noticed is that my archive function now is faster than Gmail. That is one thing which I really like in my app. But my email fetching is obviously slower than Gmail. My once the reply is sent, the speed with which it is auto archived, that is a bit slow. So auto archive is slow, but manual archive using that is very fast. So in some cases, I like my app better. In some cases, Gmail is better. Then later I had to implement a few more features, like right now forwarded emails are not there. If somebody had already forwarded an email to um, someone else, I don't have to necessarily reply to it directly, right? So, but where do I see whether this email is already forwarded or not? In Gmail, you can see that, but in this app, unless you explicitly build it, that feature will not be there. How the feedback will be used to improve reply. So feedback will be used to improve reply in the case where, imagine the case where you have lot of details about different courses that with nuances. Okay. And let's say AI hallucinated and said something, and you don't want AI to hallucinate in that direction. To give an example, let's say we have sometimes two URLs for the same course, one URL on our subdomain and one URL on the main domain. Sometimes we prefer to send the subdomain URL because there are a lot more details are there. The main domain URL do not have that many details. But I have noticed that many times AI keeps sending the main domain URL instead of the subdomain URL. Then what I did is I manually deleted in some email reply. I just manually deleted the main domain URL and replaced it with subdomain URL. Then AI, after some times, it noticed that change between the original AI draft and the draft which I sent, which was added to the context, and then it by default ended up sending now it keeps sending the proper URLs. So feedback will be used to improve the reply because these feedbacks will be loaded into the context along with the past, let's say 30 or 40 email response, email plus AI email draft plus final email draft pairs. So just remember this table is right now not an issue. If I load this entire table, it's not an issue, only two items are there. But what if I have 300 such rows now in this table? Then I have to again apply another rag on top of this feedback. So this feedback, look at this, it's only one row in this table, not an issue if I load it into context fully. But if this is 500 rows, then again I need to add one more layer of rag on top of the feedback where each entry in the feedback is converted to a vector. And if from feedback I need to fetch relevant vectors corresponding to my current email, I should be able to fetch that. If from course embeddings I need to fetch some relevant courses, I should have a rag. So here I already have rag, here I don't have rag. Even in my original app, I don't have rag yet for feedback because my feedback number is very low. But eventually, if I feel like my context is becoming worse because a lot of feedback is being fetched, I will implement rag. But yeah, let's see what is the status now. Okay, so this is the latest version. The change that I wanted to implement was, I forgot what was my latest command. It was, I think, regarding. Okay, it was regarding displaying the context. So let me now see if I open one, whether the context will be displayed or not. Okay, so now this is the full LLM context. System prompt, you are a helpful email. Yeah, you see. Let's see now what all things are loaded here when I'm replying to Sai Nilima. So system prompt, you are a helpful email assistant for Visuara, an online education platform. You draft professional, friendly, and accurate email replies to course inquiries, guidelines, be warm. And these are generic guidelines. I never said these things. Sign off as Team Visuara. Do not make up information. These are good things. Then user prompt. The following email was received. Draft a professional reply. Incoming email. Subject is the subject. Body. Hi Sridhar. Could you please look at this course and provide details? Then relevant course information from the knowledge base. Course 1. Statistics for decision making advanced. What was the course this is the course that was asked about, statistics for decision making. So the course number 1, which was fetched by RAG, is statistics for decision making advanced. Course number 2 is maybe the not advanced version of the course. Course 3 is metrics for product decisions. I don't know why this course is also fetched into the context. Maybe product decisions. Yeah, because here it is about decision. It's about decision making. Maybe because there are things about product decision here, metrics for product decision. This is also relevant. Course 4, business metrics and dashboards advanced. And course 5, data storytelling for leaders. So 5 courses have been fetched from the context to draft the reply. But you know what is not added to the context? As I can see, the feedback is not added to the context yet. And what else is not added? The previous email response pairs, that is not yet added to the context, right? So whatever feedback we have added is not improving the app at the moment. So that also, see, this is the advantage of showing the full LLM context. So now this whole thing is passed into the and also I would like to know the number of tokens. So let me just copy this token counter, chat GPT. So this is 920 tokens. So it's not too bad. The context window of these LLMs are much bigger than this. So context rot is definitely not happening. But what may be happening is we are not providing feedback, or we are not providing previous mistakes AI made in the response. None of that to this context. So maybe we can add that. So this is a good way. You can actually implement a token number of tokens consumed visualizer here, so that you can see that you are not exceeding the context. But if this number was 20,000 or something instead of 1,000, it's a problem. Right now, it's not a problem. So let's implement one more thing. I noticed that feedback table is not loaded into the context. Similarly, the replies table is also not loaded to the context. What is the point of having them if we are not using it to draft a new reply? We need a systematic way to load that into the context. Can you guys also implement a context visualizer? Just TXT format, no need of fancy context visualization, but I'm just curious to know how long is your context in terms of token. Mine is like roughly 1,000 tokens. Is yours also something like that, or is it more like half the number of tokens or double the number of tokens? Just try to build that. But drag is working beautifully here. The order in which the courses are arranged are definitely according to what the user query is. No, in this RAG, I don't think we have implemented any re-ranker. Actually, re-ranker is not that important because, if you are just fetching 5 items, and if you are anyway passing all of that into the context, it's fine. But if you are fetching 25 items and then you want to apply re-ranking and then you want to fetch 5 items from those 25, then re-ranking would be very much helpful. In this case, I don't need a re-ranker. Re-ranker is not a mandatory part of RAG. Let me just check your screenshot, Amit. I'll have to download it first. Okay, this is Amit's response. Let's see. AI draft. Okay, so one thing I notice is in all the cases, AI draft is with the formatting, with the star formatting. We can kind of ask AI. I like your all of your UI actually. It's much better than what UI I have. But yeah, the response is kind of good. Thank you for reaching out. However, we offer a variety courses. Yeah, this is good. Courses reference. Also, this is a good addition. I mean, this courses referenced being displayed here. Did you explicitly ask AI to add this, something like this? Or was it added by default? Okay, you explicitly mentioned, is it? Okay, good to know. Yeah, because this is good to know because uh, I mean, you can see that in the reply, but this is also good to know what RAG is actually fetching. All right. If you guys can implement this context visualization in TXT format, that will be great. We can actually see whether the context is relevant or not. Meanwhile, I think now we can just go ahead and just deploy this just for the sake of completion. And of course, there are hundreds of things which we can make better here. But let's once this is done, let's go ahead and deploy in frontal because that will finish the loop. One thing we should definitely check is we should have additional functions deployed if we need more functionality. Like so, I have added one functionality where if a new program is released, if I don't want auto scraping or something, I will simply provide a link or URL to that program. And then from the URL, manually, whenever I provide the URL, fetching, scraping data will happen. That scraped data will be converted into a format which is suitable for my Supabase database, and then it will be added to Supabase. So here I'm in. So for that, I needed a Railway backend also. But in this particular application, we don't need Railway. It said Vercel itself is handling that when we deploy. So let's first finish this and then let's deploy. Now deploy the application on Vercel. How to calculate delta in such cases? Delta meaning, Mayank? Chances like price updated or timings like that in RAG knowledge base. Yeah. Very good question. So I have added two functionalities. One functionality is to add new information. Another is to visualize the database, the rows in the table like cells. Cells as in if there is one row, it will be display with an edit option. So in the edit option, I can directly make an edit. So I have added that functionality also. So yes, there could be changes like changes in timings or changes in some information about the course, about duration, something like that for in the existing knowledge base. So I need an edit option. And each time, if you imagine if you have to edit, you have to go to Supabase manually and edit there. It's painful. So you should be able to make that edit from the front end itself. And ideally with natural language. I mean, just speak and make those changes. That'll be the even more ideal situation. What is the app, if I may ask, on what app for your work or for your college, on what app do you spend most of your time in terms of communication? Is it Slack? Is it Discord? Is it Gmail? What is that? Is the most painful thing for you? Can you just mention in the chat? I'm just curious to know. Okay, Teams. WhatsApp, do you guys use for what, company communicate, like for work or for like personal stuff? Okay. So for those of you who mentioned that the number of emails you send per day is like 1 to 5, is that number more like 20, 30-ish when it comes to this chat, like Teams or Slack or Google Chat or whichever platforms you use? What is the order of magnitude of per day communication? The number of messages you have to read and number of messages you have to reply on a daily basis. Oh, wow, greater than 50. Okay, per day it's that much, right? So it's truly a pain then for all of you. I think in that case you will benefit from having some sort of agent which can handle at least basic things. I mean, of course, depends on company policy and stuff like that, um, but it will help you with having some agent who has same knowledge as you to handle at least 80% of these conversations. In my case, most of my time is spent in email. That's the reason why I went with email. But yeah, of course, this can set up in. Can we set up Teams Copilot for this? Not sure. Teams should have, similar to Gmail, Teams should have a provision to have API access, right? How did you have this conversation or chat of Teams in vector database? Like how to convert, you mean, to vector database? Yeah, great question. So in email, what I did was I showed the JSON files earlier, right? Last 1 year worth of email alone itself was around 350 MB or something like that. That too, emails were, there is some reply in the thread. The sheer volume of raw emails will be much bigger than that. So what I did was I first got all the raw data from the email and I realized that it's a waste to store all of this in vector database. So then I ran another loop where I spent some money on LLM, where I asked LLM to significantly summarize all of this into 1 or 2 JSON files for knowledge base. And then those JSON files, the individual objects in those JSON, I converted to vector. So now the number of rows in my vector database is like 250 or something, not more than that. So it should not be like each chat is converted to a vector. That will be too much. I think the vector database, if it is like a team chat or something, should be something like a semantic. The chunking should be semantic based. In my case, the chunking was more based on structure, as you might have seen earlier. It was based on the structure of the email. Each email was one chunk. But if it is like, if it so happens that each reply or each item becomes a chunk, then some item might be, hi, how are you, this. So it's on useless chunks, right? So your chunking should be different. How did you export emails from Gmail into multiple JSONs? Great question. So Mosam, for that, what I did was I had written a separate function using Claude code, but it's a Python script. That Python script executed, and it took me around 45 minutes to have that much volume of email. In this case, each email is a vector. Yeah, that's correct. No, here I did not make any change. Each email is a vector. Sorry, not each email. Each course is a vector. Here I'm not storing email as vectors. But in my original application, each email is a vector, each course is a vector, and then both of those vector databases are separately referred to. In this particular application, which we are building right now, there is no email vector. We only vectorize the knowledge base for the courses. But if you were to build something like this for Slack or Teams or something, the chunking will completely matter, because if you chunk such that each message is a vector, it will be like a meaningless vector. But if you chunk based on semantics, maybe group of ideas may belong to one vector. And then whenever somebody is asking a question regarding that idea, you can find the vector that is more relevant to that. But in my experience, for those of you who are spending maybe 1.5 to 2 hours, because I assume to reply to 50 plus messages on a day, it will take at least 1 hour of your time, if not more, if not 1.5 to 2 hours, right? So if that is the case, I think it's totally worth it to build something like this. And maybe you can discuss in your team itself, like whether they would appreciate something like this. Anyways, now the app is deployed. Let's see, production URL is this. Uh, Okay, I don't need the authentication. I don't remove the need for Vercel authentication for this app. But meanwhile, one more thing that we should do, which you should not forget, is this redirect URLs. So give me all redirect URLs in a separate document so that I can easily copy. So if we deploy on Vercel, obviously you will have to go to again Cloud Console. And here you will have to add that URL. So whatever your app URL is, you will have to add that. Plus, you'll have to publish it if this needs to be publicly available app, but otherwise, no need to have that. So go to clients. Web client 1. So here in this place, we should add a URL for production. And to connect Vercel, okay, you can just ask Cloud Core to log in via Vercel or auth. So that should be very easy. Then it will ask you to log into Vercel. Authorize redirect URL, Superbase authentication. Okay, so once this redirect URL is set, go back to Superbase. If this is how your structure is, in my case, I had enabled Superbase Google authentication. That's the reason why I'm again going here. Okay, so that is also set. And so now hopefully this should work in deployment. Okay, Vercel authentication. So this we should on or off. Deployment protection, you can do that. So usually I don't go to Vercel these days directly. I force Claude Code to do it itself. I can just go here and just Vercel authentication I can switch off, but Claude Code can do it very easily. Are you guys in the process of deployment? Just let me know once you deploy, whether it's working or what's the status. So here, one thing you should note is here I did not connect GitHub with Vercel, right? The best workflow is doing that. Connect GitHub and Vercel, and then whenever you push changes to GitHub, it will be auto deployed on Vercel. Here I'm directly deploying to Vercel because my Cloud Code has access to Vercel, right? So just understand the nuances here. Okay. Yeah, we can deploy to Vercel directly from GitHub repo. So you can go to Vercel and connect it to any GitHub repo. And then once it is connected, whenever you push changes to GitHub, it will be auto deployed to Vercel. So that is for most of the projects, that's my workflow. Okay, so here my deployed app is working very nicely. It will only work for me because it's configured with only me as the user. Then if I can just reply, draft AI reply. And I can see the full LLM context here. I don't think the issue of fetching things from the feedback is yet user edit patterns. Okay, now it is fixed. Past reply history and feedback. User feedback on, I hope you can see this. I'll just increase this font size. So issue one, two out of five as was a star rating. Request to send. So this is one of the feedback. Only one feedback is there, but then user reply patterns, user edit patterns. The user modified these AI drafts before sending. Learn from their preferred style. Then I had removed something from the draft. User sent instead subject course detail. This. Oh, somehow I'm not sure if something is getting truncated here. Draft a reply to this email if the email is asking about. Okay, maybe what might be happening is if this is the full LLM context, either what is displayed here is truncated or what is stored in Supabase is truncated. Let me just go to Supabase and check if something is truncated or not in the replies. So AI draft and sent body. Okay, here nothing is truncated. So in the context, when something is being fetched from the user edit patterns, things are truncated. So this we can fix. But I hope you get the general direction. So basically what we implemented here is we have RAG just for the courses. Later we can have RAG for if there are large number of emails from our past to be referenced to. If there are large number of feedbacks to be referenced to, we can have a RAG for that also. So in general, the bigger the database becomes, the better to store it in vector format. At least one column should be vector and that column should be referred to for RAG. I'm just curious to see what is the status of your application right now. Has anyone managed to deploy it yet? How did you have these conversation or chat of teams in vector database? Not that. What is that? Yeah, we can deploy to. Yeah, I think most of the questions are covered. But I'm just curious to see, did you guys manage to deploy the application or is there any hiccup? One assignment that I will give you based on this is I will create a different knowledge base, okay, and I'll share it with all of you. And then what I want you to do is use the final version of, make sure that your app is picture perfect and polished. The knowledge base I will make in such a way that it's very nuanced. Like the app cannot make general assumptions and respond. I will make it very, very nuanced. So unless the RAG is working perfectly, the reply will not be good. Then what I will do is I will set up an agent myself so that if you provide me the email, I will make my agent send one question based on the knowledge base to your email. And then from your email, you should use your agent to reply. And once I receive the reply, I'll look at the reply to see how good it is. So yes, push the knowledge base. So this knowledge base is already in the GitHub. You should see that, the CSV file. But the latest changes, push to GitHub. So the way I can truly evaluate you will be based on that. Also, you might want to check out our platform called hire.visuara.ai. Just check this out. So the reason why we built this is because nowadays when we are hiring someone, it doesn't matter what their coding skill is. We really need to know if they can truly work with AI tools to build, right? So here there are a bunch of assignments. The free trial is for few number of days, so you can try with the free trial, and you can create an assessment for testing skills for a particular domain. It can be RAG or something else. So just try this platform once. It's a platform which now some companies have started using after purchasing from us to test when they are making a hire. So here we have built an agent who will evaluate how good you are at prompting and building using AI. So there is Claude code inbuilt into Amazon AWS, and then this platform will give you temporary access to that as a candidate or as a hiring manager, and you can use it. So just try this out. Basically, your AI skills will be truly put to test. The new knowledge base, I will be pushing that to GitHub. I don't have it yet because I want to make it a bit more complex. It should not be very simple. So I will do that. And one more update is the PDF, which I said I will share with the engineer plan and industry professional plan guys. I will finish compiling it sometime end of the day tomorrow or Monday. Then I will be putting it on the course dashboard, and once it is done, I will notify all of you. But please, I will create one assignment based on today's building exercise. The assignment will be very simple. You need to local host or show the deployed version of your email tool. Okay. I'm sure you have two emails. So from your second email, send an email to your email where the tool is. And then show me this record using loom.com, 3 or 4 minute video showing the reply and reading through your context, like display your full context in TXT format, and then just go show that. But you will have to spend a little bit more time to perfect the UI, because right now I'm sure if you got the UI in one shot, it is not good. So just make sure that you are spending few more hours to make the UI better. I will give you another 3 or 4 days of time for that. So you can work during this weekend as well as few more days during the week. So assignment deadline will be around March 25th-ish. So you can submit that. And then the dates for build session with Dr. Raj and Rajat is finalized. I have updated the details on the website. You can use the same link to join that also. Yeah. So assignment, I will post it. I will post it on the platform. So we can wind up this session today, guys. Here, I'm hoping to see some good submissions. So whatever you have built so far, I know that it will probably be incomplete because you will need more time to build. But I want you to build it, and as part of the assignment, I want you to submit it. So please take good care in making sure that the appearance is really nice. The format of reply is actually like an email. It should not sound like an AI generated reply. So you have to take care of adding sufficient email preferences. If you need to add that in Supabase, you can do that. If you need to add more tables in Supabase, you can do that. For email tool, latency is not at all an issue. The only issue is the reply quality. So even if the time consumption is a bit high, it's okay. The other issue is to minimize your LLM cost, you should minimize your length of token. The context window size, whatever number of tokens you are sending. But then at the same time, it should not degrade your quality, right? So two assignments, maybe one short assignment will be slightly making the app better and local hosting and showing it through a video format. Second assignment is just I will give you a new knowledge base. Based on that, redesign your application. That knowledge base will be slightly more difficult. And then just submit your email. All of this will be mentioned in the assignment. Submit your email. Then I will set up an agent to send emails to your inbox. And then using your agent, reply to that inbox. And I will be evaluating it based on the reply which my agent receives. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys have built and something is there in shape at the moment. If it is not, if in these 3 hours nothing happened, don't worry. You can work with Claude Code a little bit more, and in some more attempts you can get it to working. But the final output should be a deployed product. Okay, a deployed thing where there is proper authentication so that only you are able to get access. Unless you reach that stage, you cannot say it's a final product. Okay. In the next 2 build sessions, the topic I'm not 100% sure. I can ask Rajan Rajat and finalize it with you guys. But at the end of the day, you will be building something proper using Claude Code. So something very similar structure as that of today, but different for different purpose. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for staying so late. And I hope you really enjoyed the course so far and sessions. I will be sending you across a feedback form. I hope you can give some nice feedback of what you enjoyed about the course and stuff like that. It has taken me a lot of literal sleepless nights to build this course and even to go through the course, because the content is a little bit vast, and to compress it into a format which fits few hours, it's very, very difficult. So that part was the most challenging, to decide what to include and what not to include. One more thing that was challenging was to create the lecture notes. The lecture notes on Miro took a lot of iterations to get it into that shape. I use Paper Banana for many visualizations, but even the prompt which you give to Paper Banana required certain level of detail. So that's a part which took a lot of time. And you might have noticed that now Claude has partnered. I mean, they are partnering with companies to give Anthropic Builder certificate or stuff like that to individuals. So if something like that we start, we will let you know. Yeah, in the upcoming projects with Dr. Raj and Rajat, it will be similar, but mostly, yeah, agents or sub-agents will be utilized. I will ask them. I don't know what have they finalized yet, but I'll really appreciate it, you guys, if you can give me some feedback. I'll send a feedback form link. First of all, thank you all for staying so late. I know that many of you from US time zones, it's like 2 a.m., 1:30 a.m., 3 a.m. It's like weird times. Yeah, so I really, really appreciate that. I know that the timing is not the most ideal for everyone, but because we have people from almost all time zones, it's very, very difficult to get it correct. But all the best, everyone. I'll hope you to see in upcoming boot camps or workshops. I have one session coming, which is starting next weekend, on vision language action for autonomous driving. So there I'll be teaching about how to build VLA models completely from scratch, with in general for robotics, but specifically for autonomous driving. If anyone is interested in that space, you can check it out. It's basically on this link, vla.visuara.ai. So just check out this link if this is something which interests you, because VLA, you might have noticed in 2026, a lot of companies are getting funded for robotics. And I also strongly believe that embodied AI is the future of a lot of things that AI has to show, because so far AI has seen amazing things it can do in the digital world, but in the physical world still there are a lot of basic tasks which human can do, but AI cannot do. So cognitive tasks, AI can already do a lot of things which humans can do, but physical tasks, simple tasks which humans can do, AI cannot do yet. So you will learn that from, from that bootcamp, some parts of it, but the rest of the parts, Rajat is also covering as part of VLA and world models for robotics. And we have something called minor in robotics. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. I will just share a link. So this is mostly for those of you who think embodied AI is one of the big things which future AI can offer. But thank you so much, everyone. I will let you guys go and sleep or have lunch. I'm also very hungry. See you in the, now you will see Dr. Raj in the next ninth session of this bootcamp. And in the 10th session, you will see Dr. Rajat. So thank you so much. For any doubts, just email me. This is my email. Sometimes I'll be slow to respond, obviously, because of the sheer volume of emails, but I'll try my best. So all the best, everyone. See you soon in any other future bootcamps.